Hi, this is Emily of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Madeline, host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back to check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Jessica and I talk about our time in the pageant world. A new show comes out bi-weekly on Thursdays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Everybody, it is No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and I have tea, I have water, I have extra water, because there's too much going on, too much going on in this absolute cesspool of a town for me to even stay on top of. I posted earlier today about how we were going to talk about Olivia Munn and the situation on the set of Predator and Shane Black hiring an actual Predator to work on Predator. And then the studio had to cut the scene because turns out he's a registered sex offender for life because he tried to coerce a 14-year-old into a relationship online and they caught him, which is great because they almost never catch those guys. So between me posting that, taking a nap because I needed one because it's going to be the Emmys this weekend and it's about to be a marathon, I wake up and I see that Terry Crews has accepted a whack apology from the former head of motion pictures at William Morris, his agency that repped him at the time, who groped him on multiple occasions, and now that he's got caught for it publicly, he's issued an apology, and I use that term so lightly. Okay, I am not one for apologies. Not really my jam. Why isn't this sharing? Come on, work with me here. On your timeline. Okay, great. I'm not really one for apologies. I think they're mostly useless. And in this day and age, they're so, backhanded puts it mildly. What shall we say when we share this? Going over the absurdity? No, absurdity isn't the word, because it's normal, completely normal around here for what's happening. Going over the, I don't know what we're going to say. Post. Okay, so now we're shared. Now that we're shared, we can see, oh, Tiara's here. Hello, Tiara. Are you drinking whiskey? No, I should be, though. Listen, I hold a theory that white people can't drink dark liquor because it makes us fight, basically. So I adhere to that rule. But I wish if I had the ability to drink dark liquor, I totally would, but I don't. And thank you for checking on the sound, David Bobke. You're the best. You are the best. I worked on your Aaron Rodgers reference, and I'm just not there with it. I'm really not. I know I promised you that I would work on it, but I did, and it just didn't work out. Tara, you know what I mean. Tara, how many white people do you know that successfully drink dark liquor? Hashtag none. Okay? They end up in jail or in a ditch or something like that. It's just not what God intended, apparently. It's not, there's no basic menu that, if white girls could drink dark liquor, Starbucks would have it, but they don't. So that tells you everything that you need to know. Anyway, should we get to this? I think we're going to put Olivia Munn on the back burner for a minute because that's a longer conversation. So considering what has happened with this Terry Crews situation, we're gonna address that first because it's absurd. I don't know if you've read this apology or not, and it's so whack that I don't even want to read it to you, but I'm going to. Doodle, this is not the time to squeak. It is not. You better figure out something to do. Doodle sits around all day long and does nothing, absolutely nothing. But when it's time for me to sleep or talk or anything that requires quiet, he's over here squeaking. It's his thing. BuzzFeed, we're not taking an article. BuzzFeed. Where is... So, earlier today, Terry Crews posted this apology letter from Adam Bennett. Adam Bennett is the former head of motion pictures at William Morris at the time that Terry Crews was ripped there, who groped him repeatedly. And when Terry complained about it to the agency, nothing happened until the story went public. And this is why people go public with stories, is because sometimes, as we're finding out, and with consequently what Olivia Munn expressed in her interview, is that the rest of the world does think that this is inappropriate, unacceptable, whatever your word that you want to use. It can't continue to happen. It's ridiculous. So what had happened was, this came out today, just a few hours ago. I'm reading the one from Esquire. Everyone's covered it, but we'll just put it out. I'm just gonna read it to you. Oh, Aussie's here. Hello, Aussie. Thanks for coming in. I'm gonna read it to you. You've been warned. It's whack. It's kind of infuriating. Okay, so October 2017, Brooklyn Nine-Nine's star Terry Crews revealed he had been the victim of sexual harassment by then unnamed Hollywood executive who he alleges groped his privates at an event in February 2016. The following month, Crews filed a police report. LAPD ultimately named agent Adam Bennett, I don't know, as the man who allegedly harassed him. Nearly a year later, and a few months after Crews testified before Senate Judiciary Committee as an advocate for sexual assault survivors' Bill of Rights, Crews has revealed that he has settled with both WME and Adam Bennett, who resigned from his post at the agency this month. Crews posted on Twitter today a letter addressed to him from Bennett dated March 22nd, 2018. In the letter, Bennett issues a formal apology to actor and asks for his forgiveness. That is a stretch. Okay, so if you want to go look at this yourself, you can. That's Terry Crews' tweet. See his tweet there? And then that is the screen cap of the letter. So if you want to go read it, or just go see what's going on. And it got over 3,000. This screenshot says it has over 3,000 likes, and then almost 1,000 people replied, which is great. That's wonderful. Crews' tweet indicates that he accepted the apology along with Bennett's resignation, which was official on September 10th. So he's gotten rid of them. Weirdly enough, this show, we've talked about Olivia Munn and her issues with Brett Ratner, and then we've talked about Terry a few times now. If you haven't seen Terry going before the Senate on the Sexual Survivors Bill of Rights, you should go see it. Why on earth they chose Dianne Feinstein, of all people, to lead the questioning in this was a decision so terrible, and she was awful to him. She was absolutely awful to him. I'm sure he wasn't the only person that got the awfulness, but still, worst decision ever. Anyway, but if you haven't seen him testify and talk about in detail what this guy did to him, you should definitely go see it. And then it's a really, really great live volley between. It's a really good show and tell of what it looks like when someone stands up and says, hey, this person did this to me, when the crime is of a sexual nature. And then he got just put through the ringer because he's a big, strong man, and they kept asserting and asking as to why he didn't physically hurt this man. And the answer is because even though Adam Bennett is married, he's obviously got some homosexual proclivities. And if Terry Crews, as the gigantic man that he is, he's a former NFL player, he's a big dude. If he would have harmed a hair on this guy's head, it would have been a hate crime, and it would have hurt Terry. It would have hurt him more. He would have gotten hurt by the guy and then gotten hurt by the aftermath. So he showed restraint. Terry showed restraint in what had happened to him. This guy didn't. He didn't control himself at all. And yet they're asking why Terry controlled himself and why this guy, but not the perpetrator. I'm telling you, you want to be angry, or if you want to see what it looks like when somebody stands up and says, "Hey, this happened to me," and what questioning they go through, watch Terry Crews addressing the Senate. So let's get back to this whack apology. We will read it. Again, dated March 22nd, 2018. So he sat on this for a while. That's, he's let this marinate before he, posted it. Dear Terry, the intent of this letter is to start a dialogue in service of taking responsibility for the emotional challenge that this experience has caused you and your family. I have done so much thinking and learning, and I have looked inside myself with the help of my wife, my family, and professionals to understand the person that I am and why I am that person. I, like you, have many things in my life that I am only now really processing and understanding as an adult. This guy's been an adult for a long time. I don't see why this is a problem. I have dedicated myself to spiritual self-discovery in an effort to be the best person that I can be for the rest of my life. This spiritual discovery, this is like, he's like hitting all the bullet points that you do for a whack apology. Hopefully make a difference to me, my family, and everyone else that I know. He's apologizing to Terry, but keeps talking about how it's going to be good for him. There's levels to the whackness here. There's levels to it. I just wanted you to know where I'm coming from in writing this letter. I am concerned that this can be misinterpreted if it is not accepted with an open heart, and I'm willing to take the risk to be authentic as a human being. My intent is to have us both heal from the situation and move forward. What does this guy have to heal from? What does he have to heal? No. I understand that I'm not one for apologies, but this is pretty horrifying. To that end, I know that you didn't ask for any of this. Again, I take responsibility for us being here now. Together in this situation, I'm sorry for all of it. I'm writing this note with the hope of us talking in person to come together and become a positive story in a very messed up world. Using this platform to show people love, honesty, responsibility, compassion, and forgiveness are all possible. I want to use this moment to be a positive influence with you and not just another Hollywood story that becomes the forever narrative of who we both are. This guy he's not allowed to tell Terry or presume what his narrative of his life is. Up until this point, he got to be anonymous, so I don't know what he's crying about. I really don't. This is where it gets terrible. We are both so much more and have so much more to offer. I believe positive light was always your motive and intention when you came out with your tweet. To help facilitate change and make a better world and a better business, I'm coming to terms with myself as to why I behave the way I have. Fear, stress, insecurity. These are all things that I am working on. I'm sure that this whole situation is unwanted experience for you. I have no right to expect your forgiveness, but I'm asking for it nonetheless. I even hope that someday we can come together and go, hang on a second, Esquire. I'm going to have to I even hope that someday we can come together and go forward with compassion and understanding and be an amazing force for positivity and change in our culture. It requires me taking responsibility and understanding my behavior, and for us to start forgiveness healing process together. God definitely works in unique ways and has given me these experiences as a gift of enlightenment and a force for change in my life. All this guy talks about is himself. That's it. That's he just me, I, which is probably why he was taking advantage of people in the first place. I see it as the gift that it is, an opportunity to change my life path, a great gift of consciousness. It's not a gift I would necessarily wish on others, but a gift nonetheless. With respect and gratitude, Adam Bennett. And then there's even his little wax signature on the bottom. He didn't even take the time to really sign it. So that's the whack apology. It's even hard to read it. It's so bad. But this guy's not sorry. He's sorry he got caught. He's sorry that his career is ended because he can't keep his hands to himself for whatever reason. And it's not fair. It's not fair that Terry had, like, he's such a nice guy. I don't know this Adam dude, but I do know Terry. And he's like one of the best guys in town. He's so nice. He's so sweet. He's so brave and forthcoming with the things that he's been through in his life. Most people would never, ever talk about the personal, deep-rooted issues that they have within themselves just to help other people. Like, he's such a fantastic guy and accepted this whack apology, and it's so sad. It is absolutely so sad. However, the response on Twitter has been really overwhelming in Terry's favor of this is whack, basically. Like, all this guy talks about is himself and his gift of consciousness and all this like, just stop. Like, there is literally no point in apologizing if A, you were forced because of the situation, and B, you're going to make it about yourself. Like, the time to apologize was when Terry called the head of William Morris and was like, this happened to me. I need things to happen. That was the time for Adam to apologize to him and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah. I need to understand what I'm doing as an adult grown man. That was the time. That was the time to apologize. And, actually mean it. And be like, you're right. I didn't control myself. I totally should have. You controlled yourself. Thank you for not beating me into a pulp, which is what most people would do. And they wouldn't have shown restraint in that situation. They just would have beat down first and asked questions later. That was the time for apology. When he first went to William Morris to handle it internally. And then when William Morris didn't handle it internally, that's when he went to the police, got his police report, and then made the ball keep rolling from there. But the thing is, here's an interesting thing that like happens in this business, is that everyone's like, oh my God, if you don't do it, someone will. You're just going to get replaced. You're just going to get replaced. And the thing is like, people's abilities aren't necessarily replaceable. Ask any casting director or any studio executive for the most part, like truly, like the real honest answer is, can you interchange people? The answer is not really. Like, you could try, but you're not going to get the results that you needed, because this is a business and we have to make money. So things have to be commercially viable. That's how this works. But no, you can't really just interchange people. My old friend Sam Rubin from KTLA, he told me that a long time ago, because he does a lot of hosting stuff and things outside of the news. And he was like, people try to say, and they think that talent is interchangeable. And it's not. And that's 100% true. And that's true, like being an agent, being a manager, being an entertainment attorney, being at any level on the studio or network food chain is a talent. It's like, you can like get a degree in whatever, but it doesn't really help you. Like making entertainment, film, TV, music, blah, 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 blah. It has to come out of you. That's why a Steven Spielberg movie looks like a Spielberg movie. That's why a Martin Scorsese movie looks like a Martin Scorsese movie. That's why a a Dick Wolf television show looks like a Dick Wolf television show. It's because it comes out of them as a being. It's not like being an accountant or a dentist. Like you can't learn proper technique because there is no proper technique for this. There just isn't. So I think we need to be more, as a town, we need to be more embracing of that notion of, yeah, you could get somebody else, but not, but you don't want to, not really. Like if everybody could just act right off top, we wouldn't have these problems. Which brings me to my section on Olivia Munn, which is what we were supposed to originally talk about today. So Shane Black just did this movie called Predator. Everybody knows Predator, the alien with the dreads and all that. Just a reboot of that. Nothing special. But anyway, so Shane Black hired his friend to do this part. He didn't audition him or any of that. He just hired his little friend to do this part. And he did it. Olivia Munn got wind of it, and she was like, "You hired a registered sex offender to be on the set. What are you doing?" Made a big stink about it, and people were like, "Oh, just hush," or blah, 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 blah. Try to sweep it under the rug, basically, as they do. She made enough noise. Studio cut the scene. Shane Black apologized, blah, 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 blah. After they get caught, all these apologies after they get caught. It's really interesting. And then this morning, okay, so what this guy had done to become a sex offender is that he coerced a then 14-year-old girl online to try to get her into a relationship with him. He got caught, sex offender for the rest of his life, and so on and so on and so on. You've heard this story before. Well, that then 14-year-old is now an adult, and she, let me back this up. When a trial for a sex crime involves a minor, they redact the name of the minor. And so for court document purposes, for police purposes, all of that stuff, she was just labeled as Jane Doe. So if you go look up that case, you don't get a name. Well, this lady, who is now an adult woman, came forward this morning and was like, "Hey, I'm that person that this guy tried to prey on, and it was me. Here's my court documents," showed her whole situation. And she thanked Olivia Munn for stepping up and saying something, which is great. Olivia is such a wonderful person. She gave me at the Bulgari party a couple years ago for the Oscars, she gave me a really great piece of advice. Because she and herself is kind of a little enigma. She went from G4, back when G4 was still a network, to a very serious actress, and that's a huge jump, which is partially credited to obviously who she is as a person, but also this publicist that she had years ago that really worked her way up the situation, and she deserves it. She's amazing. She killed it on Newsroom. If you haven't seen Newsroom, go watch it. It's so good. But anyway, I asked her, I'm like, so even though like you've played these like sexier parts or whatever, how did you avoid playing like dumb sexy and things like that? And she was like, even if you book a part that's a dumb, stupid slut, make her a smart, dumb, stupid slut. You already have the job. Do whatever you want to do. It's yours now. What are they going to do? So amazing piece of advice. Thank you for that. But she is a force to be reckoned with, man. Like she's not out here she's taking no prisoners, basically. But she stood up for this, and as the rest of the cast should have, the rest of everybody on set should have, like, what? I don't want to kick it with a sex offender. What do you think this is? But now that woman thanked her, and it's great. Her other cast members, after all of this happened, like, kind of came to support and whatever, which is great, whatever. The premiere for it was the other day, so people were talking about it. But it made me wonder. I was at a pre-Emmy party the other night and one of, this stuff always comes up, but somebody said, like a lot of us say, like, is there going to be anybody left in Hollywood after this culling of the herd and weeding out all of these people that have done terrible things and continue to do terrible things? And you know what? If there's nobody left after we've culled the herd, that's fine. We'll build a new herd. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I don't care if anybody's left. If somebody's done some terrible things and they continue and repeatedly do terrible things under the banner of like, no one's going to do anything, I'm all powerful, blah, 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 then the rest of us are not going to miss them. We'll be fine. We'll be okay. Netflix will be all right. Theatrical release films will be all right. All that stuff. We'll be okay if nobody's left. I don't care, and neither should the rest of the town. I don't think they care either. Great. Way is paved for the new class to come in and not be terrible, awful people and actually be here to do the work and put out great stuff, because that's what we're supposed to be doing anyway. But it made me wonder, for example, if you go work on a Disney or Nickelodeon thing, it doesn't matter. You could be at the most bottom levels. You could be a stand-in, an extra for a half a day, any of that. You have to pass a background check to get on those sets. You have to. It is non-negotiable. Much like a lot of other jobs require you to pass a background check. They need to know who they're dealing with. And most real jobs that you apply for, they check your credit. They want to know what payments you've been making. Yet in this business, not only do we not check anybody for the most part, we don't ask, and we certainly don't tell if somebody's been doing something. I was at a gifting suite the other day, and we were standing there kind of at the end of it, winding down. And this lady who's I don't want to say her name, it's terrible. She's been working for a long, long time, before social media was a thing. And she was like, I knew that lady, another lady that was in there, I knew that lady. She murdered a homeless person 25 years ago. And we were all like, what? Because we all know it's true. Like, she killed a homeless person. What are you talking about? She's like, yeah. In the middle of the night, she was on a coke run or drunk or something, driving through downtown LA, hit a homeless person, killed him, and keep on rolling. And we were like, wow! I've known this lady for years. I had no clue that was her thing. Like, I knew she was into coke and she was an alcoholic, but I didn't know that she killed anybody. And I didn't know. And neither did anybody in the rest of the room. We've known each other for a long time. But like the secrets that have been covered up, especially, pre-internet, pre-social media days, like they're very deep, man. Like people know them between each other in person, but nobody says anything about it. But I think that is something as an industry that we need to do better at, is checking people before we hire them, just like any other job does. We need to know if you're a registered sex offender, that should be made apparent. Like, that's not something that should be just swept under the rug or not even checked at all. It's not right. We, as an industry, New York, LA, wherever it is that they are, we need, especially the studio and a network level, we need to be checking people. We need to be checking for everything, but especially sex crimes. Like, can't be having that on your, I don't want it on my set. Or anybody else's. Like, there's nobody worth that nonsense. Absolutely not. Like, get somebody else or cut it or cut the scene, do whatever you got to do. But no, thank you, man. No, thank you. So as the part of going forward from the era of Me Too, I think that's definitely something we all need to do, and I'm going to commit myself to doing it. I don't really hire people that I don't know. My rule is if I haven't written a check to you, or if I haven't written a check to someone who's written a check to you, probably not going to end up being hired by me. Might work together on another set. And then there's open the possibility, but by and large, I don't hire anybody I don't know. But I am going to commit myself into these, just like this woman that murdered a homeless person. We used to pay her. She used to get a check. on time, on schedule. So we didn't know about that. We didn't check for that, and I need to do that. Like, background checking is so easy. Like, I keep a subscription to do this. Like, there's no reason why I shouldn't be doing it, and why everybody else in town on their sets shouldn't be running background checks either. Oh, hush, Adobe. So that is this evening's No Filter Friday. Last week was the Creative Arts Emmys, and we had a bunch of friends win. So congratulations to the formidable, incredible, amazing Joy Zapata and Norma Lee for winning for their hair department on Westworld. And Bruce is awesome too. And then our good friend Tiffany Haddish won for hosting SNL, which is awesome. And then our friend Jessica Gao won for writing on Rick and Morty, which is so amazing, because all these little boys on the internet were hating so hard, and now she they weren't fit to shine her shoes, and now they're certainly not fit to shine her Emmy for her. So congratulations to all of them and everybody else that won, but our friends especially. And then this weekend is the Primetime Emmys. So next week we're going to cover all those shenanigans, and it's going to be super fun. So come back next week. If you're a podcast listener, subscribe, comment, like, leave a star or a thumbs up or whatever it is that Google Play or iHeartRadio or Spotify or iTunes or any of those places, the rating system. Do that and check out other shows on Public House Media, like Choose to Rise, How to Write Good, all of those new fun things. So I will see you later, guys. Bye, 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 bye.